So if I want to talk about the field of fashion studies, I have to go a little bit into my own history with that subject, because it represents for me a trajectory of how the field has developed. I was interested in that when I did my doctoral work as a form of human behavior rather than a study of artifacts. And what existed at that time was mostly costume history, which was about two types of things. First of all, it was the garments without the story of the people who wear them. And secondly, it was what we would maybe define today as red carpet or designer outfits or the elite, rather than the everyday clothes of normal, ordinary people. So it was a subset of what it is developing into today. So my entry point was that of a social scientist trying to understand social behavior. Clothing is a social behavior, and it is a clothing behavior which, contrary to some other topics in the social science, has a practice aspect to it, but as well a material aspect to it. So it has a double quality, which makes it more interesting, richer to study. At the same time, it provides a lot more cues that you can gather. So for me, fashion studies is about understanding why and how people behave in a particular way, which is related to dressing behavior. It is also about the actual items or the material culture of it, but not in a descriptive way, rather in a way which makes sense both of those items and the actors who are wearing them. So you can say that I was interested in shifting the point of view from focus on the clothes themselves to focus on the wearer, which I called the wardrobe approach. It's not just about an archive of extant clothing. It was more about understanding the social context, the behavioral context, the ritual context in which they operate. And as well, I was interested in a reflective approach to understanding that aspect, which is different from, let's say, a descriptive approach, which gives you a very detailed story of, let's say, a particular type of clothing at a particular era or place, but doesn't give you any kind of commentary or critical commentary or intellectual framework or basis through which to read it, which is, for me, the thing that interests me most. So that's why I wanted to launch that particular journal, which I called Critical Studies in Fashion and Beauty. It wasn't just a journal of fashion and beauty, which can go various ways. And so the idea is always to look at things in a context, to look at their meaning, and to extend the vision of what clothes are from fashion to clothing in general, and from just looking at the objects into looking at the people, their stories, whether as individuals or part of collectives, part of groups, part of a social context.